Hey there, Andrew here, and today I'm going to be going over what I've gotten done this past week. Welcome to catskullGameing. I am Andrew, and this is the weekly dev diary where I go over all things Project Doug. So, what have we done this past week? This past week, been faffing about working on menus, so I moved buttons around in these menus. I connected all these up, added a back and next. We have Q1 and Q2, which are the two questionnaires. That's nothing. We have the slide puzzle, which has the slides, and then once it's solved, it populates the finished picture, as well as each of the relevant items on the slide will get you the vocabulary to solve questionnaire 2. So that's almost a completed loop where you can go from one through to the other. I still have to connect a couple things up in the actual game state. And then in the game itself, we have the lock is in scene. It functions, but I have to hook it up so that when you click on the actual hasp to check if the lock puzzle is solved, it solves it. And so I wrote a short recursive function that does that to the shader so that it goes from a high quantization to a low quantization as an intro, and that was really interesting to learn how to do. That was fun. And I've been doing stuff like that, like figuring out better ways to clean up my code so that it works a little bit better, so a bit more robust and understandable. The same basic thing where you can come into each the areas, click on a thing so that you can get your different things. Still, I mean, it's still clunky and it still needs some work. So when you get all of, right, like why can't I get Qualtech now? So there's still some bugs. I still have some stuff to work out. And it worked anyways. So definitely need to figure some stuff out. You can click on all of these. Yeah. So I still have to connect those buttons and connect all that stuff up. And that's what I've been doing, just slowly getting it so that that loop moves a little bit closer to getting to the lock, getting that lock in. And I'll keep working on it, solving those bugs, getting the buttons so that everything works and turns on and off, so that everything functions the way it should. And just slowly working through those different parts until everything comes together. And I have that loop from when you come in all the way through that first interaction to get into the locker. And I'd like to get it so that a smoother transition, because there's a lot of tutorialization that happens in that first part, with Q1 being kind of a direct, like, hey, these things look this way, so you can quickly do this. The slide puzzle, all that stuff is still very clunky, and knowing to, like, oh, I need to move from point A to point B, I need to move from here to there. I do have the intro, which, because I've been doing testing, I took out. And so there is the intro, which when that plays, it does help kind of direct the player, because it goes through each of the different scenes. Right, it takes them over and it points out, hey, here's all the different places. It shows you that you have this questionnaire, and it says, hey, figure out these things. Maybe I'll put a little line in there that says, I should probably check on those areas. And then when you go, I need something so that when you go to the first scene, irregardless of what scene it is, and when you click on the first pick-upable item, irregardless of what item it is, it will play some kind of pop-up that will say, hey, I just got something from this. I need to find the other two. And you're like, oh, well, there's those other two scenes. Let me go check that out. So that's kind of the idea, but I don't have that stuff I need to put it in. So that's what I'm going to be working on to get that first loop, because that's the loop. Then the next part will be to do the second loop, which once you open the locker, you'll get 2 more questionnaires, maybe 3. You might get 2 that you have to go to 2 other locations to get information for, and as you go to those locations and other locations, you gain stuff for the 3rd one. And so the first 2 will kind of be like, solve these 2 so that you can solve the 3rd one. And then another slide puzzle or 2 where it's like, hey, here's another slide puzzle that has information to help you solve stuff. Or maybe it's a slide puzzle and 3 questionnaires, and by solving another slide puzzle, that helps fill in information. I don't know, like, I'm figuring this stuff out, which is why I'm kind of trying to smooth things out and make this opening section a little bit easier to deal with. There's also a lot of like just visual stutters. I don't really know what to call them because there isn't a visual cue. It's just, it renders and it does a thing frame on frame on frame, instead of like having a easing transition or a fade. I have to put all that kind of stuff in, and there's a lot of areas like that because it doesn't have that kind of softness. Everything is very harsh. The edges are very sharp, and I really want to round those kind of things out. And so I'm kind of doing a little bit of that work because I don't really know what the next part is. So that is about where the game is. Life-wise, it is, things are hectic. I'm working regular job, and then during my lunch break and every day, I'm working on getting the house ready. I'm getting ready to move. And then that leaves me like some downtime to work on this thing, and it's just, you know, you have to have a certain level of like mental fortitude to work on a project like this, to do the coding, because I don't really know what I'm doing, so I have to really think about it and really focus in on that. So I'm guessing over the next month and a half, this game's going to get looking a lot better. I'll probably end up working on the assets and the models, because I don't need as much mental focus to do those things, because I have a lot of practice in mentally being able to create a 3-dimensional object. Like, that's not a hard thing for me. So I'll probably end up doing a lot more of that stuff, just because it's going to be stuff that I can get done and not stare at a computer screen for 3 or 4 minutes without doing anything, because I'm just trying to like figure out what I have to do. So but yeah, that is the Dev Diary. Andrew, thank you for watching. If anybody else happens to watch this, hey, thanks for watching. If you would, go ahead, like, subscribe, do all the other YouTube things, check out some of my other videos, see where I was, which is a very fun thing to do. I'm going to make a video about that soon. This has been the Weekly Dev Diary from catskullGames. I'm Andrew, and hopefully I can come up with a better tagline next time. Bye!